It seems counterintuitive to recall such tragic events that caused so much bloodshed and loss for so many nations who were involved in that war, causing so much sadness to many families as well. But we must remember these events for several important reasons. First, we honor the soldiers and civilians who sacrificed their lives for the very freedom that we enjoy today. I hope the generation of today could take a moment to appreciate the war memorabilia, photos, and newspaper clippings featured in the exhibit, and deeply reflect on how the uniforms and helmets were once donned by soldiers who lived those horrendous times and offered their lives on the line in exchange for our country's freedom, and on how the ordinary civilians like them would not be spared from the death, hunger, and sufferings. Second, we commemorate the event to make sure that the world does not forget how ugly war can be. This is especially important today when we see the world undergoing some crisis in some areas, causing hunger and displacement to hundreds of thousands of people in these modern times. In the context of the South China Sea, this is the very reason why the Philippines has advocated the concept of rule of law and the peaceful settlement of disputes there, precisely so that we can avoid these conflicts that would cause tremendous number of people lost. And we are doing this, and I heard the chaplain said earlier that we have to stand for what is right, and this is exactly why we have to do what we are doing right now in the context of the South China Sea, to stand up for what is right and to prevent conflict from happening in the future, such that if we don't do this now, then we put the world in a more uncertain level. Third, the commemoration serves us as a reminder that freedom comes at a price. We are where we are today because the Filipino and American soldiers who fought valiantly in Bataan, Corregidor, Manila, Leyte, and throughout the Philippines to halt the advance of the Axis powers, allowing the Allied forces to regroup and eventually regain control of the Philippines. We need events such as these to remind us of our responsibility to make sure that the sacrifice of every Filipino and American soldiers are honored year after year. Again, I commend Cecilia Garland and the Bataan Legacy Historical Society for their untiring efforts to make the present generation aware of the kind of people they come from. A people who are brave, selfless, and loyal. I also wish to thank the San Francisco Public Library for allowing the Filipino-American community a venue to share the shared piece of history between the Philippines and the U.S. It is through these tumultuous beginnings that our two countries forge and deepened relations that continue to mutually benefit both countries today. I wish to commend the Bataan Legacy Historical Society for their efforts to ensure that future generations of Americans and Filipino Americans, that they will appreciate the sacrifices of their forebears through the implementation of Assembly Bill number 199, and also through a more comprehensive presentation on World War II, taking into consideration several viewpoints. I encourage everyone to support this noble and laudable initiative. Mabuhay po kayong lahat. Mabuhay ang Bataan Legacy. Good morning.
On behalf of the Bataan Legacy Committee, I would like to present you with care packs, which we want to send to our brave and heroic Filipino sailors and Marines and others that are there in the Spratly Islands.
On behalf of the 8 Filipino soldiers at the BRP Sierra Madre at Ayungin Shoal, who's isolated and depend on the outside world for their provision every 3 months. From the bottom of our hearts and their families, we wish to thank you for your concern and prayers. Thank you.